C'est vrai?
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues of International and Syrian Organizations for Human Rights, my name is Mikhail Romek, and I'm a member of the legal department of Alkarama. We have the pleasure to present the award, Alkarama Award tonight, and celebrate the work of someone who has persevered and provided us with guidance, who is actually still in prison in Damascus and who is with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Mota and I work in the legal department of Alkarama. It is my pleasure to see you all tonight on the occasion of the 10th of December, the Day of Human Rights. Here in Geneva, the city of human rights, we would like to pay homage to Mr. for the dignity of human rights in his country, Syria. I would like to salute greet the son of Mr. Haitham, who has come instead of his father, to present his father. Let me first of all introduce you to Alkarama, which means dignity in Arabic, was created in 2004 by lawyers and defenders of human rights, and whose objective is to assist victims of human rights violations. We focused on the most abuses of human rights, which are threats to human life, dignity, and freedom. We aim at providing protection with the help of the United Nations. I would like to let you, the President of Alkarama, Mr. Al-Nuaimi, for his speech. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brothers and sisters, in the name of all Alkarama members, I would like to the first article of human rights, that all human beings are born equal in dignity and rights. Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, that all people are born equal. Brothers and sisters, we celebrate today one of the symbols of freedom and dignity, who has chosen to defend all his life the values of freedom, justice, and rights. Still, he was the victim of his work, and he has paid with his freedom for such. For the last 6 years, many human rights activists witnessed daily horrible stories of human rights violations. These violations were increasing daily, and there were an increased number of victims, whereas officials and responsible of such violations were enjoying protection and sleeping peacefully. The very first idea of setting up Alkarama as an international organization to document the violations of human rights in the Arab world was necessary, since there was no possibility whatsoever to set up such an organization in any country. We have chosen this beautiful country for this beautiful city as a headquarters for our organizations. We chose Geneva as headquarters of Alkarama because it is a city of human rights and because Switzerland is a country of freedoms and rights, and it's a state of law. This country is known for its neutrality and respect for human rights, and still protects, and therefore it deserves a reputation of defending human rights. We can say we are aware in Alkarama that the values of freedom and justice will have no meaning whatsoever if there are no activists, honorable activists who devote themselves and their lives for the defense of human rights and make such rights a reality in the life of people. Therefore, the protection of human rights is at the heart of our work in Alkarama, because without such people who are devoted to defending such there would be no real progress in the fight for human rights. Alkarama has paid a dear price to achieve such a noble endeavor, and many of its activists have been arrested, oppressed, and undergone many constraints. This prize represents our recognition to all these activists in the field of human rights, and is a small part in the protection of their rights, since they are the ones who are most in need of an international protection. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Anaimi. I would like to give the floor to our legal department director, Mr. Al-Maleh. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The prize of Alkarama is discerned every day. It is meant to reward a personality or organization that have contributed in a significant way to the protection and promotion of human rights in the Arab world. Our award seeks to honor personal commitments to justice and freedom. Ours is a modest recognition for a lifetime of struggle for freedom and human dignity, and fight against dictatorship of states and governments whose main objective is subjugating their people and remain in power. Before talking about the prize winner of this year, I would like to point out that the first Alkarama Award for Human Rights was granted to Mr. Abdelnour Ali Yahya in his 90s today. This eminent militant has spent his life fighting against dictatorship in Algeria and defending all the victims of oppression loud and clear. He is tonight in our heart and thoughts. I would like to assure you and his friends that he's doing well, for I have spoken to him this morning, and he asked me to convey his greetings and that his thoughts are with us during this event. He wants me to read this message to you all. I'm really happy that Alkarama has granted its award this year to Mr. Haitham Al-Maleh, a militant who has devoted all his life to fighting dictatorships that have no respect for human dignity whatsoever. I thank you and congratulate you for having made such a choice to honor someone who has made many sacrifices and did not hesitate to pay with his freedom and at the risk of his life to show the way forward to future generations, encourage them to defend their rights to freedom in more than one way, provided that this leads to human rights, dignity, and the defense. Mr. Yahya is convinced that the dictatorships reigning presently in the Arab world are doomed because of oppression calls for freedom. Mr. Yahya is sure that the peaceful struggle of free people and militants of human rights will eventually pave the way for justice and freedom. There is no doubt Mr. Haitham Al-Maleh, though younger than Mr. Ali Yahya, is one of the best models and guides whose constant sacrifice and determination in defending freedom, justice, and truth have shown us the way forward. Mr. Al-Maleh has devoted himself for the past 40 years to defending the rights of his countrymen all over Syria, irrespective of their social, ideological, or political views. He achieved this with the love of others, his love for freedom, and his compassion, and the compassion he showed to all the victims he supported for more than years. He persevered in his action with courage and did not care about the risks and the arrest threats and imprisonments he had to face. Nor did his age, sickness, or other constraints discourage him. Because of his enduring defense of human rights in Syria, Mr. Al-Maleh was arrested many times and put in prison for many years, very often without due process or accusation. He was once again brought before a military court in 2002 for having expressed his views freely in the press. He was shamelessly expelled from the Civil Laws Association in 2003 and was banned from traveling and participating in conferences since January 2004. Mr. Al-Maleh has always defended the superiority of law over force and pleaded in favor of fundamental rights of all citizens of his country as guaranteed in the International Charter of Human Rights. He has received many international awards and prizes for his work, took part to many conferences, and spoken in front of parliamentarians across the world. He has been at the forefront of Arab militants of human rights, and we are entitled today to be proud of him because change has started to come to the Arab world, despite it is one of the most oppressed by dictatorships. A loud call has started to be heard everywhere from the Arab Gulf to the Atlantic Ocean. Everywhere in this part of the world, youths are putting questions over the respect of human rights and fundamental rights and the dignity of citizens by governments, even though these rights are still denied in more states of our region. These issues can no longer be ignored, and things will never be the same again. Alkarama has been attentive to this call since it is much closer to victims and youths and we are optimistic Alkarama has been attentive to this call since it is much closer to victims and youths, and we are optimistic that change is coming at much faster pace and persuaded that change is coming at a much faster pace than the sacrifices consented by our militants such as Mr. Haitham Al-Maleh. We express today our support and solidarity with this exceptional person, a dear old brother, in the struggle for the respect of human and fundamental rights of people, all the people with any discrimination whatsoever. Let me say, Mr. Haitham, you are with us tonight, and you know well that we support you and are with you, and that all free men will be with you always. Thank you. Thank you. Now we will show a short film depicting the struggle of Mr. Haitham Al-Maleh.
When you believe exactly 100% in anything, you can do it. Myself, I believe that I'm strong enough to continue struggling for this situation. I feel that I'm free, really. Even I'm under watching. So myself, I'm going in my way. I don't feel anything else.
The daily harassment was always there. I mean, his phone was always tapped. He was followed. They were watching who he meets with and who he talked to. There was always, guards at his outside his office. They would even try to scare clients, from coming and hire him. So they made life difficult for him.
One of those very high-level intelligence service asked me one time. He asked me, "You sleep directly?" I said, "When I put my head on the bed, automatically I go in deep sleep." I said, "Do you know why?" He said, "No." I said, "Because my heart, I feel that I am doing good things for the people."
Les Syriens ont le sentiment, mais plus que le sentiment, c'est-à-dire qu'ils savent par expérience que ils sont surveillés, ils sont sur surveillance.
Il n'y a pas de liberté d'expression, il n'y a pas de liberté de circulation. J'ai une amie qui ne peut pas sortir de Syrie, par exemple. Il y a beaucoup de Syriens, des milliers de Syriens, ou bien ils n'ont plus leur passeport, ou bien ils sont sur des listes. Quand ils arrivent à l'aéroport, on leur dit non, vous ne partez pas.
Le régime sait que sa situation n'est pas aisée, n'est pas facile. Le régime sait qu'il est, grosso modo, illégitime. Il y a des procédures qui accompagnent la décision de l'état d'urgence. Et cet état d'urgence doit être pris, décidé pour un objectif déterminé, et il doit être renouvelé tous les 6 mois. Or, l'état d'urgence est une réalité qui dure en Syrie sans que personne ne se pose plus le problème.
ما يحكي بالكلام انه في قوانين طوارئ، انه في معتقلين، انه في تعذيب بالسجون، انه في كمش اطفال بدون سبب، في ارهاب بالبلد حقيقي، في رشوه، في فساد. بيقول الكواكبي في كتابه انه الدكتاتوريه النظام الشمولي هو ابو كل الفساد بيقوم.
I have no enemy. I said to him, I work by street, all the people like me. So what do you need more than this? I'm very rich man. Because this is life. This is my philosophy.
He begs people sometimes to come and file lawsuits, against the government and what they are doing, and he would say, I'll do it for free. You just want people to come and stand up for their rights.
En 1951, il a commencé à militer pour les droits de l'homme. En 1989, il a travaillé avec Amnesty International. Il a toujours défendu les droits de l'homme pour n'importe qui, même des gens qui n'y croyaient pas, ou des gens religieux, des gens pas religieux, laïcs. Enfin, pour lui, c'est l'individu qui compte, ses droits.
Yes, I spent 7 years of my life in jail, beginning of 1980 till last of 1986. Do you hear me?
لا تحس أنك عرفته من زمان، كأنك تعرفه. ونحن كنا نعرف أنه من المحامين الذين سجنوا في مطلع الثمانينات حينما قامت حركة النقابات المهنية في سوريا تطالب حافظ الأسد في إطلاق الحريات وإلغاء الأحكام العرفية. هاي حركة النقابات المهنية والمجتمع المدني. ولذلك هو وقتها ألغى أولا حل هذه النقابات التي كانت تشكلت بناء على مرسوم هو أصدره.
I don't know why, but it happened. I received usually a telephone call from all over the world. I received from Russia, from Afghanistan, from Pakistan, from Europe. Lot of people phone me, ask for some people in jails, or I don't know from where they take or they got my telephone number or my email, I don't know.
C'est un monsieur qui a beaucoup de compassion. Plusieurs fois lors de nos entretiens, je l'ai vu pleurer en évoquant les difficultés des familles qui venaient le voir parce qu'elles ignoraient où se trouvaient des parents à eux, un père, un frère ou d'autres qui avaient été enlevés et qui n'étaient pas réapparus depuis 20 ans, 25 ans ou 30 ans.
الأستاذ هيثم المالح كانت تشغله جدا التفاصيل الصغيرة لاعتقال كل شخص من الأشخاص. لا يعرف كثير من الأهل أين ابنهم، أين أباهم، أين أخوهم. الأستاذ هيثم المالح بفضل بعض الزيارات التي تتم له كان يقوم بمحاولة تهريب بعض المعلومات عن وجود المساجين داخل السجن.
فعنده طريقة في الحديث وبالأسلوب جذابة وآسرة، وأحيانا يستعمل النكتة بحيث أن الحديث يبقى له فيه حيوية وطعم خاص.
Il dit ce qu'il pense et il fait ce qu'il dit.
فهو يدخل لك الموضوع، حتى الموضوع الذي يكون قانونيا وجافا وجامدا، ولكن يقدمه لك بأسلوب عذب، بأسلوب إنساني وأسلوب مرح.
Yeah, I said this is a special saying in Syria. Mosquitoes sleep over a mass of buffalo. In the morning, the mosquitoes said to the buffalo, "Good morning." The buffalo asked the mosquitoes, "Where you were?" Because she didn't feel her.
فقال له الضابط ليش رجعت؟ انت نحن قايلين بدنا نعتقلك اذا رجعت. فقال له يعني خليك برا، يعني ابقى في الخارج. فقال له أنا ابن دمشق مثل جبل قاسيون هذا، يعني أنا دمشقي راسخ في دمشق، عميق الجذور في دمشق، مثل جبل قاسيون.
Il avait une attitude à son régime qui était une attitude de résistance, mais de résistance dans le cadre du respect de la loi. C'est-à-dire ce qu'il voulait, c'était que les autorités syriennes respectent elles-mêmes les lois qu'elles avaient imposées au pays.
I think maybe that used to bother me is like when we are at home and in the evening he'll tell me, to prepare him, do you know makdoos? Makdoos is like a stuffed eggplant. And it's like pickled. I don't like it myself, but my father always in the evening, he used to tell me, go bring me a makdoos, one makdoos and like 2 eggs, boiled eggs. And so I'm first of all, I don't like makdoos. I don't like its smell. I don't like, but I have to go, get it for him, and I have to make the eggs, and this is something that I never liked really working in the kitchen. So that's something, that bothered me, maybe a little bit. But every night I have to.
This is life. This is my philosophy in life. Even I am in dangerous, but I don't care. I believe in God. I believe that my life in the hand of God, not in the regime. The regime couldn't do anything against me.
I have the pleasure to introduce Mr. Pascal Morer, who is to present the Alkarama Awards to the son of Mr. Haitham Al-Maleh. Mr. Morer is the president of the International Union of Lawyers. He was the president of a member of the International Union of Lawyers, as well as the director of the Commission of Human Rights and the Defense of Human Rights. We would like to thank you for your presence with us tonight. Please have the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, and colleagues which I can see in the room, and it's for me to thank you all, to give you this opportunity to, and the admiration I have for Mr. Al-Maleh. I'm a lawyer in Geneva since 1973, and I've had the chance to, same as any of my colleagues in here and in Europe, to exercise these professions in total freedom, in the sense that I could say whatever I want, and the possibility to receive customers and to keep professional secret, and to express myself, and being able to go home. And this is an exceptional chance, and which we enjoys, and you know that the qualities of a lawyer are courage, and his job is to defend people. Then it has evolved, and many among us in our profession who have actually forgotten their roots, and it seems Mr. Haitham Al-Maleh has not forgotten his roots, and he has indicated to us that he wants to defend human rights. Our union has been set since 1967, multilingual, and has many lawyers from the Arab world and lawyers from the States, from Brazil. We are thousands and represent 200 associations. We have tried to help Mr. Al-Maleh, as we did with Mr. Al-Hassani and Mr. Al-Buni and many other lawyers who are being harassed and treated in a very bad way. Human rights means the freedom of expression, the freedom of association, and the call for and the possibility for a lawyer to exercise his profession in a free way. As far as the profession of lawyers, it has been stated that it's the freedom of association for lawyers is a fundamental right. Mr. Al-Maleh, has same as many lawyers in all over the world, has been deprived of such possibility, but he has been and he has paid with his life for his freedom and his fought, and we respect him and we have the great respect for him, and we shall continue supporting him in his fight. We will try to achieve our objectives and the objective of his colleagues, lawyers, and I thank you very much. It's with great humility and admiration that I would like to present this prize to you for your father, who undoubtedly and without reserve deserves such a prize for his struggle and fight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maître. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear distinguished guests, let me start by thanking you all for being here. I would like also to thank Alkarama and its staff for organizing this great event, for all their hard work and support for my father and all other human rights defenders in Syria and around the Arab world during the past year. I thank you for selecting my father to be the 2010 Laureate of Alkarama Award for a lifetime dedicated for protecting the rights of all Syrians. It gives me a great honor to stand here today in front of you to receive this award on behalf of my father, Mr. Haitham Maleh. On this day, December 10, 2010, the International Day for Human Rights, my father, Mr. Haitham Maleh, who is considered the father of the human rights movement in Syria, has been sitting in a prison cell in Damascus for more than a year. Mr. Haitham Maleh celebrated his birthday recently away from his family, his wife, his daughter, 3 sons, 3 granddaughters, and 3 grandsons. You've seen one of the granddaughters in the picture here. He started his 80th year of age in prison because, according to the Assad regime, he was spreading false news that could weaken the national morale. A regime that has been killing Syrians for speaking out, imprisoning them, and sending them to exile, regardless of their age, sex, or religion, worries that my father's words are what is weakening national morale. This is a man who spent his life fighting for his country and for his fellow men, regardless of their age, sex, religion, or national origin. Mr. Haitham Maleh uses the utmost of his skills as an attorney to defend the rights of anyone, without discrimination. And that's why you will not find two people arguing over his credibility, his fairness, and his straightforwardness. Everywhere I travel, I meet people by chance in different parts of the world who tell me stories about how they got to know my father and how he touched their lives. He is a hero to many. When I refer to him as my father, they tell me he is not only your father, he is the father of all Syrians. This man stood up for what is right. It did not matter to him how much it would cost him. The first time he went to prison for what he believes was in 1951. Then under the Assad regime, he went to prison again, spending 7 years in prison in the 1980s for fighting for the human rights of all his fellow countrymen and countrywomen. The Syrian Bar Association threatened to freeze his pension, and he faced further disciplinary action against him by the Syrian Bar Association to disbar him for 3 years for talking to the media about some of the human rights cases he was defending. He faced 2 military tribunals in 2002 and 2005, and he has not been allowed to travel outside the country since 2004. Finally, last year, on October 14, 2009, Mr. Haitham Maleh was abducted by the Syrian regime after he gave a TV interview. The state forced his disappearance for almost a week. When he appeared again, it was in front of military tribunal, which sentenced him to 3 years. This was his third military tribunal, even though he's a civilian who never served an army in his life. They think they can silence a man such as my father, but I guess they failed to learn from their previous mistakes. My father came out of prison in 1987 more determined than ever to fight for the human rights of others until there is no prisoner of opinion left in Syria. My father will come out of prison again by the will of God, stronger than before, and he will continue his mission in life. My father is considered to be the oldest prisoner of opinion in the world. But Syria holds another world record because Tal Al-Maleh, the 19-year-old blogger imprisoned since December 27, 2009, is considered the youngest prisoner of opinion in the world. I can say that we have an equal opportunity human rights abusing regime in Syria. Yet, Western nations that brag about protecting human rights, and in specific the human rights defenders, like my father, is dealing with this criminal regime as if it is the legitimate ruler of Syria. It is not. Let the future show that the West is placing its own narrow interests over human rights by supporting yet another criminal regime, just as bad as that of Saddam Hussein's, against the rights of the people tyrannized by this regime. Mr. Haitham Maleh is not afraid of death, and he is not afraid of prison. Having experienced it 3 times already, Mr. Haitham Maleh broke his fear factor. So there is nothing to stop him again. The Syrian regime can keep arresting him, and Mr. Haitham Maleh will come out every time stronger and more determined than ever before. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this moving speech. The portrait you have made of your father has allowed us to further understand and appreciate his character, his courage and determination. A determination which, despite all the obstacles and constraints, we hope that Mr. Al-Maleh be freed soon and that he joins his family. Alkarama will continue to monitor his situation. We would like to avail ourselves of this opportunity to solicit your support and assistance. We would like to thank our interpreters and all the volunteers who helped us tonight. I would like to invite you all to take part, to invite you to a tea party outside, and I would like to thank you all for your presence. Thank you very well. Thank you.
I've been in Syria. I monitored some of the hearings of the trial of Mr. Haitham Al-Maleh. As ICJ, we consider his trial to be unfair. He was tried before a military court. He is civilian. He shouldn't have been tried before a military court in the first place. The guarantees of fair trial were denied. He tried to meet with his lawyers were denied. He couldn't prepare his defense in an appropriate way. He was prosecuted for charges related to the exercise of his right to the freedom of expression and free speech. Nothing in his work, either as a lawyer or human rights defender, was illegal, and the military prosecution, could not submit any evidence to prove that he was doing something illegal. So mainly his trial was unfair, and the guarantees of fair trial were not met in his trial. Haitham Al-Maleh, as a figure, as a lawyer, as a human rights defender, has always been a huge supporter of the principles of rule of law and human rights in Syria. He paid the heaviest price for his engagement with regard to the promotion of rule of law and human rights, and he has been, with other lawyers, the main supporter of all victims of human rights violations, serious human rights. I can't remember exactly. I met him 3 or 4 times in Syria from 2007 until his last hearing of his trial. What I can remember from him is as was mentioned in Iyas' speech, actually, his sense of humor, the way he's dealing with all the attacks against him and against human rights law with such sense of humor, with such an engagement, and he has never lost hope, actually, in Syria. He will always try again and again. He will never be shy from standing up for the principles he is defending, and his capacity to bounce back, actually. He spent 7 years in prison, and afterwards he was engaged. He continued his engagement with regards to the questions of human rights and rule of law in Syria. So it's mainly his resilience and his capacity, actually, to bounce back and to continue doing what he was doing and what he believes in, and that's a huge quality for someone like him.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks.